Hi everybody. In this exercise, we're going to create a personal account within the Web of Science. This allows us to save our work from session to session so that we don't have to recreate the wheel every time we want to use Web of Science. It also lets us create alerts so that anytime an article is published on our area of interest, we get an email that tells us this is how you become and stay the expert on whatever it is, that topic that you're interested in. Okay, let's get started. Okay, so here we are in the Web of Science, and you'll notice up here there is an option to sign in or register. So assuming that you don't already have an account, all you need to do is click on the register button. And this is very simple. They just want your email address, password, and name. So it's very simple to create your account. Just answer those questions. It'll then give you the option to register. I already have an account, so I don't need to do that. So that's all you do. And then in the future, when you come back to Web of Science, like I am now, I'm just going to click to sign in. Put in my email address. And here we go. And now you can see it recognizes me as Craig Mason. Okay? And so that's kind of how we get started. Now, to see some of the benefits of having an account, let's do a search. So I'm going to do a search. I think I'd mentioned in an announcement about I'm in the middle of doing some big reports. The other reports looking at reading interventions for kids, kind of some national projects going on. So I'm going to pick a topic of interest to me, like that is right now. So I'm going to do reading and intervention. I've already got it put in because I ran this before making the video. Reading, intervention, and elementary, because they're elementary school-based kids. They're first through third grade kids that we're working with. Okay, and then I'm going to do my search. See how many I get. 1,692. So that's a lot. Not surprising that there'd be a lot on reading interventions, but that's still a lot. So in reality, I'd probably want to go through and maybe fiddle with the search a little bit. Maybe make it reading interventions or intervention in parentheses to kind of make sure it's pulling them that way or not. But for this exercise, we don't need to worry about that. Okay, so I've got my search. The key is that it's something that you're interested in. In this case, it's something I'm interested in. Don't do this exercise and just make it my search, doing reading and intervention in elementary. That's no fun. Don't do that. Think about what it is that you're interested in. And it may take a bit. So, if necessary, pause the video, come think about it, come back, maybe play with Web of Science a little bit before you figure out what the search terms are that you want to use, because now we're going to start working off of that. Okay, so if you need to leave and come back later, great. All right, but that said, let's keep moving with if this was my search that I was going to use. So the first thing I want to do or want to cover is what's called a marked list in Web of Science. And there's a few ways you can do it. You'll notice the term popping up from time to time. We see it right here. Here's the results. It's giving me 34, kind of sorted by reference, and I can relevance, and I can scroll through the whole 1,600 if I want. But you can, as I scroll through the articles, I may look and think, let's see. Characteristics of general education reading intervention. Oh, this one sounds interesting. So I'm going to click this little box. Here's another one, effective motivation intervention. Oh, that sounds interesting. And you go through and you find the articles that you think are interesting that you may want to follow up or save for future to look at in the future. And you go through and you just flag them with those little boxes. Track up here of that I've got 4 of 1,692. So that's great. And when I'm done, I click Add to Marked List. And it gives me an option to create a new list, or in this case, add to unfiled. So unfiled just means they're kind of loose. They're in my folder. They're loose. They're not categorized at all. As I create lists, so let's create a new list. I'm going to call this Reading Interventions Elementary. It says the 4 search results will be added to that new list. So I create a marked list. There you go. It pops up. I think that was just because I clicked it twice. That it's made that list. And now notice if I click on Add to List, I don't have any marked. It was giving me, do I want to do all of them? Well, actually, you can see that. Let's say I wanted to do all 50. They'll give me the first 50 at a time. And I click on Add to a List. Now it gives me the option of, do I want to make it unfiled? Again, just kind of loose there. Or do I want to put it in this category, the Reading Interventions Elementary? So I could put them into that group. And in fact, I'm going to do that. Let's put all 50 that is pulled here and put that. How do I find that? Where do they go? Where's my marked list? You scroll over here to this menu on the all the way to the left, and notice the first little option here, this little folder, is called Marked List. So I click on that. Low today. And it gives me, here's my marked lists and any unfiled records. So at the moment I got no unfiled records because I put them into this list I created. And I have one marked list of titled Reading Interventions Elementary, the date it's modified. It's got 50 articles in it because, remember, I put in 4 and then I did the top 50, but the top 4 were, the 4 I put in were from the top 50. That's why it's 50. But you can then click on this and I can pull up those articles again. Anytime in the future, it's permanently saved. And it took a little bit. There's been internet problems with the university this morning, but I digress. So anyway, here they are, and I can find those. I can go back to those anytime I want in the future. They're saved for me. And if next week, next month, I go back to Web of Science and I want to do some more searching and I find some articles, maybe using a different search that I want to add to this list, I can do that. Very easy. So very slick, a great way to help you organize your results while you're going in Web of Science. You can find, as you're just breezing through it, if you find something, click the little box to save it, put it in one of your lists, and have multiple lists if you've got several different interests to help organize them. Okay, so let's go to see how long it's going to take to do this. I'm just going to start my search again. That'll be faster. And here we are. So that's how we'd have a marked list. And it's saved, just a way of organizing and saving our search results in the Web of Science so that we can go back and use those later or draw on them later. But another benefit of creating your own account is that you can create alerts. And you notice here we did this search based on Reading and Intervention Elementary. And right up here in the upper right corner, after I get the results, it says Create Alert. What I can do is if I click that, I can give this a name, and I'm going to just call this Reading intervention elementary. I'm going to give the alert the same name. Check the box, send me email alerts. And if I create this, it's going to send me an update when new articles are published that fit that criteria. It's got reading and intervention and elementary somewhere in the topic in that area, that material. So that's great. I can manage it. How often do I want it to send me emails? Notice the default is weekly. And here's my email. But I can click on manage. We'll take a look at that in a minute. And edit that so that maybe I get the monthly or some different schedule. Okay? So the simply selecting create alert when I make a search is a way of just getting regular updates when new stuff comes out. Like I said before, this is how you stay up as the expert, knowing the latest stuff that's coming along in that topic area, because they're telling you as it comes along in that topic area. You're going to be right on the cutting edge of work. That's what we like. Okay? You can also do other types of alerts. Let's pick an article. We'll pick this first one here. If I look at that article and I think, wow, this is really interesting, and I'd like to know whenever someone cites this study. That's a way of if this is something I want to kind of follow, what's its impact? But also just because if I really like this article, I may like other articles that are citing it because they're probably doing similar sorts of work. So I can create what's called a citation alert, and that will give me an alert every time an article's published that cites this specific article. Let me kind of clarify that. Anytime a new study's published that cites this paper, I'll get an alert. And that's great. So I just do it here. It is create citation alert. And I'll automatically receive an email every time, an email alert every time the article is cited. Great. I'm going to select that. I get alerts based on this article. Anyone references it, anyone cites it in their work, I'm going to know about it. Help me stay caught up on what's happening in my discipline. And then another type of alert I want to touch on here is an author alert. Let's say that I really like this article and I think, wow, Jean Wanzek is doing some pretty good stuff. I want to kind of stay on top of what she's doing. So I can click on her name, and it takes me to a Web of Science summary of her research. And I can create an alert up here, add alert. Now I can get two types of alerts for the author. I can get every time she publishes something. That's what I'm interested in. I want every time she publishes something new, I want to know right away so I can stay up with her work because it's probably pretty good. Or I can also get an author citation alert. That's anytime someone publishes something that cites her, I'll get an alert. Because again, if they're citing her work and I'm interested in her work, I may be interested in theirs as well. So I'm going to create those two types of alerts. So I'm creating alerts galore here, okay? And I'm going to look at manage alerts. And I can manage alerts this way, clicking this, and it'll take me to, we'll just do that. And can also access the alerts. I'm going to actually go back so you can kind of do it that way. I'm going to close that. But here, again, going back to that menu on the far left where we saw our marked list, at the bottom is Save Searches and Alerts. So I'm going to click on that. Here's where I get all of my alerts I can see. And I can go through and edit them, update them, change them, delete them if I'm not interested in it anymore. So I've got citation alerts at the top. And notice it says right here, oh, I'm getting, and it kind of explains right here that I'll get an alert whenever a new paper is published that cites this paper. So new research, if a new research is published citing this article, I'm going to get an alert. And I can kind of edit it here. I can make it inactive if I don't want to delete it, but don't want to keep getting the emails. More options. I can go through and edit the email account it goes to, and I can then cancel it as well if I want. Okay, so notice this doesn't do it on a time frame because it just will do it. Articles come every once in a while, so it's not going to wait. As soon as the article shows up, it'll send me, and Web of Science is aware of it. I'll get the alert. Okay, then it's got search alerts. Now this is the first one we started with, right? When I did my search based on reading and intervention and elementary. And here's the name for that. So here's another alert. Anytime an article that's a new study's published, a new paper's published that fits that criteria, I'll get a regular updated alert. Now this won't come every single time immediately the paper is published. I can set these on some schedule. So you can choose them here. Down here in my preferences, I can change the email, but I can get these daily. If I want to get a daily update, I can get a daily update on anything new that came out today, or weekly. Weekly is the default, or monthly if I want to get less off summaries just once a month. Okay. So I can edit that. That's the search alerts. And then author alerts. Here's where we see again, we like this author. We like her. We personally like her stuff and want to know when she's publishing something new. That's this publication alert. It tells me anytime there's a new publication from her. And then citation alerts. Anytime someone publishes a paper that cites one of her studies, I'll get an alert. Again, I can go through, I can make them inactive. Maybe I'm not interested in that. I'm getting too many alerts. I can go through and say, I'm just going to remove this one. I'll still get every time she publishes something new, but I won't get all the ones whenever someone cites her. Okay? So this is how you do alerts. You can see what a powerful tool this is. If you want to be the expert on autism interventions, reading interventions, what are some of the topics that we've seen in the discussion forums? There's a few good ones there. You want to become the expert on something? This is how you do it. You're going to stay up to date. New things come out, and you're going to know before anyone else does kind of what's the latest information on that area. So powerful, awesome tools. So the exercise is very simple. Notice I didn't even go through the questions because it's just make your list and then set up anyway, you'll see. It's very straightforward. Okay, hopefully you found this interesting. Take advantage of these tools. All right, have a good day. Bye-bye.